please welcome to the stage with me, Justin Hanna and Jack Pace.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all doing well today. We're very excited to be with you at Digital Velocity 2025. My name is Justin Hanna. This is Jack Pace. And today we are hoping to share a little bit about our journey and what we hope will be a very riveting and entertaining story on our way from somewhat uncertain data foundations to ML-driven personalization. And before we jump in though, I do actually want to establish just a few ground rules. Coming from the sports space, we are going to do our best to avoid littering this conversation with unnecessary and overwrought sports analogies. So things like personalization Hail Marys, or swinging for the fences with data, talking about how it takes grit and tenacity to do machine learning. We're just going to leave all that at the door. But if we do slip up, please call us out. And then tonight, drinks will be on Tealium. So, but we'll leave it there. And a little bit about FanDuel Sports Network. So I imagine for a lot of folks, it comes to mind sports betting, sports gambling. And I always have to kind of start there. FanDuel Sports Network is a totally separate business entity, separate from the gambling, betting side of the business. We actually own the regional streaming and cable rights for a few dozen professional sports teams across the MLB, NHL, NBA, WNBA, and PWHL, or Professional Women's Hockey League, for those that follow that. Okay, oh, some people know it, great. Yeah, it's growing. First season was just last year, so very exciting for hockey fans and women's hockey in particular. And then within my role specifically, I more or less head up all things marketing automation, marketing technology, obviously runs the gamut of everything from tag management to API integration, CDP, CRM. But within that, my goal is really to empower our marketing team. That's where I see sort of my North Star is how do I empower our marketers to be more successful when it comes to their day-to-day role, their campaigns, strategies, tactics, whatever it might be. And what are the tools, solutions, vendors, software partners that bring that to life and make that possible and make it easy for our marketers to focus on what they do best. And in there, of course, we have solutions like Tealium and partners like Zion and Zion.
Yeah, so my name is Jack Pace. I head up our MarTech and data strategy team at Zion and Zion. We're a full service agency working across B2B, B2C. And so our MarTech and data strategy team works on technology solutions, data solutions, and engaging with our clients to take them from use case ideation all the way to implementation. So working with clients who either have a data foundation or just getting started and getting them into these more AI and personalized experiences.
So that's what you do?
I guess.
Oh man, I've been wondering.
I mean, you're coming out here looking like a PC. I know you use a Mac.
Yeah. I thought this was important. So starting there, where I want to roll the clock back just to set the stage for our journey. A couple of years ago, late 2022, early 2023, it was a bit of an uncertain time for our business. For those that maybe don't recognize FanDuel Sports Network, we were previously Bally Sports and before that Fox Sports. And in the last couple of years, we've gone through the process of declaring bankruptcy, separating from our parent company, rebuilding all of our front-end and back-end infrastructure, and of course, rebranding along the way. So it's been a tumultuous time period, a lot of uncertainty in that process. But at the core of that, when we think about our data and a lot of this data, right, related to sports viewership, consumption of sports content, we have a large variety of data, but it was really quite messy, unstructured, and really prevented us from using that data in a meaningful way to engage with our customers. And that was the big challenge. We've got this data, but it's not in a format or a position to use it to add value to the customer experience. And that was really the impetus for saying, okay, there's opportunity here. We can do something better. We need a little help at the time. We had a very lean team. I was a marketing technology team of one. Our data and analytics team, I think at the time, was one person. Yeah. Our entire marketing team was like 3 or 4 people. It was getting very tumultuous, but looking for good partners to help us solve these issues, again, led us to ZNZ in the first place.
Yeah, so we started with rebuilding the analytics strategy. So at the time, Universal Analytics, GA4 was on the horizon. So we rebuilt everything kind of from the ground up. And once we started engaging, we realized the sheer amount of data. Sports fans are highly engaged users. And it's great with FanDuel Sports Network being a logged in experience because we're able to identify users across so many different devices. So realizing the amount of data that these users have that they're generating, as well as other data sources such as team performance, streaming performance, we realized that instead of just going towards these shiny objects, we needed a data program to centralize all of our decision making, handle our road mapping sessions, and building that shared vision and alignment with the company goals of growth and engagement. So we started with the analytics rebuild, realizing, hey, this is really setting us up for a CDP success story. But analytics was just one data source. There were so many others across consumption, platform health, team performance, subscription, and all of this data was living in silos. So our first activity was cloud enablement. So given we were already kind of heavily invested in the Google stack, we went with GCP or Google Cloud Platform, engaged with various different partners to start ingesting data from those sources. And everything was user first. We wanted every data source that we could possibly ingest be identifiable to the user level so that we could build this customer 360 view, which really set up a lot of success for the integration with a CDP. And given Justin's experience with Tealium, our experience with Tealium, and a lot of success there, that's kind of where we went was with Tealium. And we really didn't want to just capture data for data's sake. Everything needed to have more of a strategic purpose, either in the near term or in the long term. So we weren't just, hey, let's throw the kitchen sink at this. Let's be a little bit more strategic, understand what data we need, meeting with stakeholders to understand what they need, what their pain points were, and where they wanted to go, which gave us a lot of that vision for spinning up this data program.
Right, yeah. So as Jack described, having that foundation, right, working with Zion and Zion to lay the cornerstones there for our data strategy, the next logical step in that process was, okay, we've got this data in a good place, how do we use it, right? How do we start to use it in, again, that meaningful way to improve our customer experience and drive business value, of course, right? How do we prove the ROI on all this effort we're putting in? And having worked with Tealium before, Tealium was the easy phone call for me. I reached out to them, said, hey, we need a customer data platform. We have all this great data. Some of it's asynchronous, some of it's synchronous, some of it's online, offline. Let's bring it all in and use Tealium as a hub to collect, process, enrich, and activate this data downstream. And from the marketing side of the perspective, low-hanging fruit for ROI, we immediately plugged into our paid media vendors. That's obviously a lot of money being spent there. So audience targeting, audience suppression, all the CAPIs that have been mentioned again and again. I was an early adopter during my time at Hulu, so very familiar with them, and quickly jumped on all of those, improve our conversion, our campaign performance, measurement, attribution, the optimization that results from that. But then we also expanded to many other partners within our MarTech stack. So those included things like our MMP branch, our CRM solution using Iterable, companies like Flowcode. We've also taken advantage of a lot of the consent features that Tealium offers, basically using Tealium to facilitate our data privacy operations, so it's become very valuable there. And of course, new partners, even as we look forward now more recently, any partner we are bringing in, or a MarTech solution, one of the first questions is, are they integrated with Tealium, right? Can we make this a whole seamless ecosystem? And I think we've all probably seen that picture or slide from Tealium where they've got all the data coming in on one side, right? Here's all your data sources, and here's Tealium in the middle, and then here's all the places you want to send your data on the other side. And that's more or less how we set up our MarTech stack. We've got all this data, we bring it into Tealium, Tealium becomes the central hub, and then wherever we want it to go, Tealium facilitates that process and unlocks the value for our marketers and ultimately drives the customer experience. But along that journey, the question we continue to come back to and reevaluate is, how do we do more? How do we get more sophisticated? And we've got this data, how do we apply things like AI or machine learning to take that next step, do more than just the explicit and known data we have, but derive those sort of implicit signals that can continue to add value. And back to Z and Z for that work.
Yeah, so Justin was really busy making the early stages of the data program and all of those initiatives come to life. Starting to get some early return on that investment. But he's busy with the activation side. We're busy on bringing in more and more data sources. But we hit a point of, hey, we have so much information. We have a really smart team. Let's explore AI and ML opportunities. So our first step was goal alignment. So going back to user acquisition, growth, and engagement, we focused on cancellation prediction as well as reach, frequency, engagement segmentation. So users who are super users, dormant users, medium, low, etc. So those were our two initial primary use cases for using AI and ML. Going back to something that Sol mentioned is having the right team. When you're going through the AI and ML journey, one data scientist just plugging away doing everything is not the solution. So we have data engineers, cloud engineers, data scientists, and analysts, as well as strategists that all come together under that vision and strategic guidance from the data program that allowed for us to explore these opportunities as well as build them and actually deploy them. So while we invested heavily up front on data quality, making sure everything coming into the data warehouse was clean, there were some anomalies. So we set up things like data monitoring, alerting, that allowed us to quickly identify any type of data quality issues and correct those. And if it was something weird happened or there was a bug in the implementation, we were able to go back and kind of address that. So our data scientist, he started with exploratory data analysis because of the sheer amount of data. And it's not just about what the customer is doing on the platform or their subscription behavior, but there were other outside factors that we wanted to take into account, such as team performance. As teams were moving up in rank, down in rank, how does that impact the likelihood of canceling or making a user go from a super user rapidly down to a dormant user? So a lot of feature engineering went into that. So now that we had all those features discussed, we went into, okay, so how are we going to deploy this? So given we were already on the Google stack, we leveraged Vertex AI, which allowed us to seamlessly integrate with the GCP stack right into BigQuery as a data source, as well as a data destination for the output of those models. And then also from an ML ops and model management perspective, allowed for us to auto retrain that model as the tides change very rapidly within sports as teams go up or down in ranks. It allows us to constantly be refreshing that model and looking for drift detection, so when we need to go back and kind of retweak those. So now we have a whole new set of attributes that we're able to send over into Tealium from an activation perspective to have some type of intervention for when a user may be likely to cancel or hasn't been in the platform in a while, and allows Justin and his team to use those intervention measures. And then we're also storing historical snapshots of that model. So as users go up or down in their cancellation prediction score or from their customer segments, we're able to see the accuracy not only of the model, but then also the success of the intervention measures that Justin and his team are exploring.
Yeah. And so one thing I want to dive in there, and kind of bringing it more to the marketing side of that, is, again, all this data, great, but how are we using it, right? How are we using it to engage with our customers? And certainly when we think about sports fans, for those sports fans in here, oftentimes you're very passionate about the team you like, maybe equally passionate about the team you don't like, for opposite reasons, of course, but understanding what our customers like, explicitly, implicitly, whatever those signals are we can bring in, understand, and then trying to deliver and personalize that experience. Jack mentioned like team performance, understanding win streaks, losing streaks of those teams, getting those fair weather fans to tune in when their team's doing well. When they're not doing well, maybe they don't really care to hear about it. One exciting thing we've started to do is actually around in-game excitement analytics. So for anybody, right, that's been to any sporting game, right, or sports event, there's a moment that can happen where that game goes from good to exciting. And that's different for every sport. Maybe basketball, right, a 3-point spread with less than a minute left, right, it's all kind of hinging on one shot. As a hockey fan, I think any game that goes into overtime is pretty exciting. Baseball, of course, right? Maybe ninth inning, pitcher on the verge of a perfect game. That's a reason to tune in. So we've started to do more around that real time, trying to capture that moment. Hey, tune in. If you're not tuned in already, tune in. Something exciting is happening. It's the team you care about. And really capture that attention. And then going beyond that, when focused on the personalization side, what we've started to do more recently is really dive into the website landing page personalization. So as we think about customers, known customers, of course, we have a great deal of data on them. We know the teams they like, the players they're interested in, whatever it might be, and personalizing their experience as they navigate through our website. But then for customers that are unknown, personalizing that first page, that first page experience for them. And a great example of this is actually something we've started with the MLB teams as their season is about to start. If you are clicking from one of the MLB team's websites, landing on our website, you're going to get the team experience. So if you click from the Atlanta Braves and you land on our website, you get the Atlanta Braves experience. We're looking at that refer. We're personalizing off that. Say, hey, great, you're going to get Braves imagery, Braves text. We're going to tell you about the Braves package we offer. Try to make it custom for you, and then even going farther now, next step over the next few weeks for me is to say, hey, let's even personalize the preference centers. If you're a Braves fan, you're going to get a Braves preference center, and you're going to have the option to toggle on all the different communications that you might want to have around in-game excitement notifications or win streak updates. So that's something we're really looking forward to, and more opportunities certainly for machine learning along the way, and continued partnership with Tealium and Zion.
Yeah. So the important, when we got to this AI ML next step, it was this inflection point of turning the data program from a cost center into a revenue driver. And Justin was a huge advocate for that. He saw the potential for the data that we were centralizing, the new attributes that we were deriving, and Justin's really been a huge advocate to get that data activated. Because if your data is just sitting in the warehouse, it's great for reporting and from a business intelligence perspective, but if you're not activating on that data, you're missing out on some of your greatest assets to engage your current customers, but then also identify new customers. We can take those segments of super users, send those into Meta and other platforms, and find more fans just like that.
Yeah. So as we kind of near the end of our time here, one thing I do want to stress for companies, I know some companies are certainly farther along than we are, some companies probably a bit earlier in the crawl stage perhaps, but I would love to just stress that you can do this too. We've managed to figure it out over the last couple of years while going through the re-architecting of the business, the bankruptcy, separation, rebranding, just kind of chaos at times and a lot of uncertainty, but it was doable. We got there, and I feel like we're continuing to spin the flywheel every day now. So it's moving faster and faster, and I would encourage everybody to just start with the end question of, how do I improve my customer experience? If you start with that side of the question, right? How do I add value for my customer, make this experience better for them? Then go to the other side of the equation and say, okay, well, what data do I need to make that possible? What is the foundation we can lay to get to that end goal of improving the customer experience? And then in between are the technologies, tools, systems, partners that you may find valuable to fill that gap and bring you from the data to the solution. And for us, that's been Tealium and Zion. For others, it may be something else or a few additional components along the way. But it's worked for us, and we're excited for everything we plan to unlock in 2025.
Yeah. No, it takes a while to get to the empty net and the 2-on-1. But
there's a sports analogy.
but yeah, thank you, Tealium. Thank you all for joining us.